Hi everybody, this is for my WP2 Day talk storyboard, Climate Justice and Global Redistribution. I'm Yinglun So, and in my project, I explore how global economics can help fight climate change and protect the world's poorest populations. When we hear the phrase climate change, many people imagine melting ice cap, wildfires, or floods. But the hidden truth is that climate change is not just an environmental crisis, it's also a human crisis. The people who suffer the most are those who have done the least to cause the problem. That's why I wanted to understand how economic systems and global cooperation can create fairness and justice in this fight for survival. My lens text is either Doflo's TED Talk, A New Economics for Climate Change. Doflo, who is the Nobel Prize winning economist, presents a simple but powerful argument. Climate justice requires rich countries to repay their moral debt to poor nations. She reminds us that wealthy countries built their prosperity by burning coal, oil, and gas for over 2 centuries. Meanwhile, developing countries are now suffering the most severe consequences: droughts, floods, and heat waves. Her talk inspired me to look at climate change not only through a scientific lens, but also through a moral and economic one. Doflo's speech led me to a question that became the heart of my research. How can global policies and economic reforms promote fairness for the poorest country affected by climate change? This question mattered because even though we often talk about global cooperation, the reality is that most climate decisions are made by a handful of powerful nations. Poorer countries, those hit hardest by environmental disasters, are usually left out of conversation. Finding fair and practical solutions is essential if we want climate action that truly included everyone. Unique impact of climate change. Every ton of carbon released from rich countries contributes to deaths in poorer ones. Scientists estimate that by the year 2100, 6 million more people will die from heat alone, and the majority of these deaths will occur in Africa and Asia. Imagine the injustice. The same emissions that power air conditioners and cars in rich nations are silently killing farmers and children across the global south. These are people who don't have the luxury of cooling system, stable homes, or access to healthcare. Climate change has become the greatest moral inequality of our time. It divides the world between those who cause the problem and those who pay the price. The moral and economic debate. Global points out the rich countries owe an enormous debt to poorer ones, about $1.7 trillion each year in climate-related damages. Yet, when leaders meet at international climate conferences, they often argue over small sums or debt commitments. Doflo calls this behavior nickel and diming the poor. This phrase perfectly captures the hypocrisy. Wealthy nations debit endlesses over aid, while millions in poor countries lose their homes and lives. True climate justice means acknowledging this debt and paying it, not through charity, but through responsibility and fairness. To make this vision real, Doflo proposed a concrete global redistribution plan. She suggests a 3% annual tax on the 3,000 richest individuals in the world and small increase in the global corporate tax rate from 15% to 21%. Together, those could raise about $700 billion every year, enough to fund renewable energy projects, protect vulnerable communities, and rebuild areas destroyed by nation disasters. This plan wouldn't destroy economics, it would rebalance them. It's not about taking away success, it's about sharing responsibility for the planet we all depend on. But money alone is not enough to truly rebuild trust between rich and poor nations. Doflo believes that the aid must reach rich people directly, not disappear in layers of bureaucracy. In countries like Kenya and Zambia, digital banking and mobile money systems already allow families to receive small payment directly. These families use the fund to install solar panels, buy clean water, or rebuild home after floods. This approach shows that when we trust people, they use resources wisely. True climate justice begins when the world stops treating the poor as victims and starts seeing them as partners. For conclusion, climate justice is not charity, it's fairness. Climate justice is urgent and achievable. Redistribution is not just an economic reform, it's a formal transformation. It's about recognizing that lives of people is Niger or Bangladesh are worth just as much as the life of people is New York or Paris. As Ezer Dofo says, it's not charity, it's justice. If we act now, we can repair trust, restore balance, and build a fair future of all. Because fighting climate change isn't only about saving the earth, it's about saving each other. Thank you for listening.